38 trillion. That's how many bacteria are living inside your gut right now. More than there are cells in your entire body. And after the age of 50, the mix of those bacteria changes dramatically. Not because something went wrong, because your body is responding to a shift it was biologically designed to make. The reason digestion changes after 50, the bloating, the weight that behaves differently, the energy that isn't quite what it was, it all connects to a shift most conversations about menopause completely miss. It's happening in your gut. And once you understand it, everything else starts to make sense. And in the next 16 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what that shift is, why it's happening in your body right now, and why understanding it changes how you think about everything your body has been doing. This is episode 1, the foundation. And this is the part that changed how I think about everything. Right now, those bacteria are producing about 90% of your body's serotonin. Not your brain, your gut, your mood chemistry, your sleep quality, your sense of calm. All of it begins here. These are not invaders. These are permanent residents your body has been cultivating since birth. Your gut and these bacteria have a relationship that is hundreds of thousands of years old. They are, in every real sense, part of you. Understanding this system doesn't just explain your digestion, it explains your energy, your mood, and why your body feels different than it did 10 years ago. This is the foundation of feeling like yourself. This is what scientists call your gut microbiome, the entire community of microorganisms living in your digestive tract. Bacteria, yes, but also fungi, viruses, and other tiny organisms. Most of them live in your large intestine. Here are 5 things your gut bacteria are doing for you right now as you watch this. And I want you to hold all 5 in mind, because after 50, every single one of them shifts. 1, they digest food your body can't digest on its own. Specifically, fiber. You don't have the enzymes to break down fiber. Your gut bacteria do. And when they do, they produce something called short-chain fatty acids, one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory substances your body makes. 2, and this one is bigger than most people realize, they regulate your immune system. About 70% of your immune cells live in and around your gut wall. Your bacteria are in constant communication with those cells, helping them decide what's a threat and what isn't. 3, they produce neurotransmitters. That 90% serotonin figure, this is the direct connection between gut health and mood, sleep, and the anxiety that seems to arrive from nowhere. Now, the next 2 functions are the ones that change most dramatically after 50, and they're the reason I'm making this series. 4, they influence your metabolism. Specific strains of gut bacteria are directly involved in how your body stores fat, how it uses glucose, and how efficiently it extracts calories from food. And 5, they protect your gut lining. Your gut wall is only 1 cell thick in places. Your bacteria form a protective layer that keeps that wall intact and prevents what researchers call leaky gut, where particles from your digestive system enter your bloodstream. Now, here's where it gets personal. Because everything I just described, all 5 of those functions, they all depend on having the right balance of bacterial strains in the right proportions. And after 50, that balance shifts. Your gut bacteria and your estrogen are in a 2-way conversation. There's a specific collection of bacteria inside your gut whose entire job is to process and recycle estrogen. We call this the estrobolome. When you're in your 30s and 40s, your ovaries are producing high, predictable levels of estrogen. Your estrobolome feeds on this, thrives, and keeps your gut lining strong and your digestion moving at a healthy, predictable pace. Your gut and your hormones are in constant, balanced communication. But when estrogen drops during menopause, that conversation changes. Because there is less estrogen to process, the estrobolome physically shrinks. The bacteria that relied on estrogen to thrive begin to decline, and that decline has consequences that ripple through every one of those 5 functions we just talked about. This creates 2 very specific changes inside your digestive tract. The first is gut permeability. Estrogen naturally supports the thick, protective mucosal lining of your gut. When estrogen drops and the estrobolome shrinks, that lining becomes slightly thinner and more permeable. This is why a bowl of pasta or a slice of bread that you ate without a second thought at 42 might suddenly leave you feeling heavily bloated at 54. The barrier has physically changed. This is also the biological basis of low-grade chronic inflammation, which in turn affects your joints, your energy, your skin, and your weight. The fatigue that isn't explained by poor sleep, the joint stiffness that doesn't match your activity level, the weight that doesn't respond to the same effort it used to. These are not separate, unrelated problems. They are downstream effects of the same biological shift. The second change is gut motility. Motility is the wave-like muscle contractions that move food through your digestive tract. Your gut bacteria actually produce the chemical signals that tell those muscles to contract. When microbial diversity drops, those signals get weaker. Your digestion physically slows down. Food sits in your digestive tract longer, which gives it more time to ferment. Fermentation creates gas. Gas creates expansion. This is why so many women describe waking up with a perfectly flat stomach, eating very little throughout the day, and going to bed looking 6 months pregnant. It did happen, because the gut is coordinating all of it. I want to pause here and reframe something. Because everything I've just described might sound like bad news. It isn't. This is not your fault. Your body is doing exactly what it was designed to do. If you've ever sat in a doctor's office and been told that everything looks normal when nothing felt normal, this is part of why. These changes don't always show up on standard panels, but they are real and they are measurable. What I've described is a system, not a failure, and systems can be worked with. Your gut microbiome is one of the most responsive systems in your body. Unlike bone density or hormonal production, which are largely determined by age and genetics, your microbiome responds to your environment within days, sometimes hours. What you eat, how you move, how you sleep, how you manage stress, these inputs directly shape which bacteria thrive and which decline. This is called microbial plasticity, and it's the scientific foundation for everything we're going to cover in this series. Studies have shown that significant, measurable changes in gut microbiome composition can happen within 2 to 4 days of dietary changes. Not weeks, not months, days. Think about that for a moment. The system that coordinates your digestion, your immunity, and your mood, it can begin to shift within days of you changing what you feed it. Other research has found that regular, moderate movement, including walking, increases gut microbial diversity independently of diet. Meaning, even if you change nothing about what you eat, moving your body changes your gut bacteria. And perhaps most importantly for the women watching this, postmenopausal women who actively support their gut microbiome show measurably lower inflammation, better metabolic function, and even improved mood compared to those who don't. The gap between the two groups widens over time, which means starting now matters more than starting perfectly. If you have a friend who's been struggling with this, send her this episode, because understanding this mechanism changes everything. Now, that does not mean every symptom you experience is caused by your gut, and it does not mean your microbiome is the only story. But it does mean your gut is part of the mechanism, and understanding that mechanism gives you something concrete to work with. The research points to 3 starting places, not because they do anything dramatic, but because they directly address the changes I've just described, and none of them require you to overhaul your life. Step 1, feed the estrobolome. That group of bacteria that processes estrogen has lost its primary food source after menopause, but there's a way to give it a lifeline. Plants contain compounds that gently mirror the effect of estrogen in the body. The research on these compounds is clear, and it's reassuring. These plant forms support the estrobolome without the risks associated with pharmaceutical estrogen. Feeding your gut these plant compounds gives those bacteria something to work with, a way to survive and begin rebuilding. The most effective way to do this is with 1 serving of ground flax seeds, or edamame, per day. 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed, stirred into yogurt or oatmeal, provides enough of these compounds to start feeding that specific bacterial family. Not supplements, not powders, food. Step 2, support gut motility with movement. Earlier, I described how gut motility slows after 50 because the bacteria that produce the contraction signals decline. Movement directly addresses this, not by replacing those signals, but by physically stimulating the muscular contractions that move food through your digestive tract. A 20-minute walk after your largest meal of the day, not a workout, just a walk, is one of the most well-evidenced and underused tools in digestive health. You're not exercising for punishment. You're supporting the conditions the system works best in. We'll go deep on the science behind this in episode 7. Step 3, feed diversity with variety. Different bacteria thrive on different plant fibers. If you eat the same 10 healthy foods every week, you're only feeding 10 types of bacteria. The protective lactobacillus and bifidobacterium strains I mentioned, they thrive on a specific type of fiber called prebiotic fiber. Garlic, onion, leeks, oats, slightly underripe bananas, asparagus, these are literally food for your protective bacteria. Your starting point is simple. Add 3 completely new plant foods to your grocery list this week. It could be a can of chickpeas, a bag of walnuts, and a fruit you haven't eaten in months. Next week, pick 3 different ones. This constant rotation of plant fibers is how you rebuild microbial diversity, one shop at a time. Let me bring this together. 1. Your gut microbiome is a living, responsive ecosystem that coordinates your digestion, your immune system, your mood chemistry, and your metabolism. After 50, it shifts, driven partly by age and partly by the hormonal changes of menopause. 2, that shift is real and measurable. The estrobolome shrinks, your gut motility slows, and your gut lining becomes more permeable. That's a direct biological cause of what you've been experiencing. 3, this system is not fixed. Your microbiome is one of the most changeable systems in your body, and the next 9 episodes of this series are going to show you, mechanism by mechanism, exactly how to work with it. If you've ever done everything right, eaten less, been careful, stayed consistent, and watched the scale not move, you are not imagining it. There is a specific reason. Next week, I'm going to show you the exact metabolic mechanism behind why eating less stops working after menopause, including one specific hormone shift that explains why the same 1,400 calories that worked at 42 stops working at 54. And it has nothing to do with discipline or willpower. It's biology. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. You now understand something about your own body that most people, including most health content, never explains properly. That knowledge is yours. It doesn't expire. If this helped you feel more at home in your own body, subscribe, because every episode builds on the last, and the series is designed to be watched in order. I'll see you next week.